Yalla, yalla, doo-wop, doo-wada, wada, yippity, boom, da boom, bang, bang, changity, chang, chabop, infidels. That's right, we're back. It's the Impact Attack. MSG's right on the right side. Pass it to the left, infidels. We're going to break it all down here today at hackerhamin.podbean.com. Yalla. King Kong and the mic like GGP over there. As we get ready for the horsemen of what's going on, election day, the final chapter. So I know everyone's looking to escape. I haven't even turned on the news because why bother? We'll cover it tonight on the horsemen, man. But right now we're gonna break it down with all the Impact Wrestling wrap up post Hard to Kill with my man MSG. Good to have you back, buddy.
Yeah, I'm thank you for having me back. I appreciate it. I'm your host, and the scene with air is clean. I'm lighting up green, but more importantly, as Ben Hamin mentioned last week, Mr. Chairman, are the votes certified? It is the 20th. It is Inauguration Day. Have the votes been certified, sir?
For you? No, I heard there's a whole military tribunal coming.
You said the day was the day. It was a
producers. Some things are even out of my hands. How is it going to look if I rule with complete tyranny?
That's some bullshit.
They're calling. Hey, you could still come out on top. You're being pulled into producers' court. I think the Honorable Judge Stevie Richards will be presiding.
All right. Well, then I have a shot. He's fair.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see which way things go and who, is doing 10 to kayfabe off of this. So, right now there is a trophy being printed by Larry H., the first Hammy trophy official. I know some guys went into biz for themselves, got themselves some nice plaques and medals and everything else, but the official Hammies are being done on the way, much like the Oscars. The one you're touching on stage is definitely not the one you're taking home.
Right, exactly.
We're working on all platforms all around the globe. It's crazy. Gam Wolfers, Big Evil Pops, Frank's Pickle Barrel, that's our own RBV. Executive production teams in the house. Big Evil Pops and Kaz, Mike Roche back here from the watch along last night. I had a good time talking to everybody. Unfortunately, we can't do the picture-in-picture on YouTube because we're already yanked from Twitch, and we're still fighting that battle. I kind of eased up until maybe a day or two from now. We'll let them have a big dose of dopamine, and then we'll come in and see if we can't get back online. Scott Woodford says, hey, guys, how's it going? And, yeah, man, it's going good. Wednesday morning, a new chapter in American history here. Who knows what's going to happen? And hopefully nobody does anything stupid to take anyone's life unnecessarily just to make some headlines, and that would be unfortunate. But sometimes, people don't have all their senses, man. And it only takes one dumb bastard to fuck up everything. It's always a house of cards, everything. But we got so much new business here at Hamin Media Group, man. It's fucking unbelievable. Yeah, I'll do it.
Group.
Yeah, it's just a crazy week. I shocked my staff yesterday with the next 3 weeks workload, along with whatever else is going on. What else is going on? Stevie Ray TV, man, hooked up with Impact to have the first ever debate, most dangerous debate. Sami Callihan, Eddie Edwards right before Hard to Kill, and I think there's going to be even more there because you want some wrestlers court. Well, bailiff Stevie Ray just checked in, and ain't nobody going to stand up and do nothing without his permission, man. And I know you're behind the scenes doing a lot with that, Matt. That was a big week for you. Good job, man.
Well, I appreciate it. I think it was, successful in our soft launch as we, gather and continue to bring more content. Patreon.com/Stevie Ray TV. And yeah, he's just like, he can pretty much get anybody. Guess what? It's fascinating when you're the 10-time champ Hall of Famer. Stevie Ray picked up the phone. He makes one phone call. They're like, yeah, I'll come on your show. Like, all right, brother, come on my show. And they just, no hesitation, no question. So I'm excited to continue to see who Stevie Ray brings on and all the different content that we're getting to help produce.
It's going to be insane. I wouldn't doubt if you're working with Mike Tyson by the end of the year.
That would be pretty cool. I know that what's his name? Rick Vickery was telling me that he would be more excited for me if he got to work with Mike Tyson. I was like, yeah, I like Mike Tyson. That'd be pretty cool. And he was like, no, you don't understand. I was like, no, I get it. My dad's a big Tyson fan. I was like, I just think you're more amped up than I am. Like, I mean,
if you would have lived that era, like, you know, you weren't even.
Well, it was early 90s, probably more late in his career.
If you didn't make it through 86 to 89, like that shit was insane, bro. With Michael Jordan, fucking him, man. It was just an insane time to be alive, right? In that cusp of, like, you're seeing not just 1, 2, and even sometimes 3 different players that are just like, you'll never see that caliber of athlete again. And it only happens like 1 in 10 million people, you know? So crazy.
I know that Rick said that he would be willing to buy me a billboard with my face on it saying Matt is producing the Stevie Ray show. So when that happens, I'll look for that in Ohio.
Yeah,
that'd be great. I think I'll be more excited when I can get someone like like a Steel Pulse or one of the Marleys on for Stevie Ray. I'll mark out for that. Oh yeah, I can make that happen now. It's Stevie Ray. It's easy. You know?
Yeah. So. Yep. Why not, bro? Let's really do some interesting, because not only as a producer, but as the booker of talent, possibly too, you get to do a little fantasy booking, dream booking that other people aren't doing, and that's a wonderful space to create in, man. I think that's very, very cool. Adu DX wants to know what MSG's for. MSG's is good for everything. Job done. Matthew Shafford, 12 gauge shotgun blast. I heard when I rip and kill at will, the man of the hour, tower of power. I devour. Yeah, Matthew Shafford Gage, executive producer, possibly producer of the year, still waiting on the appeals to clear and a lot of other things going on.
I will say that I'm probably going to clip that now. I've got 2 new great clips in the last couple of weeks. One from Mrs. Manna. Now I'm going to suck up to Stevie Manna, the judge. Great wife, awesome podcast. I appeared on the Career Junkie podcast, which you can go check that out. That I do a full podcast where it's just me talking about my career and transition kind of from sales into master control operations. So go check that out, guys.
Well, how's that? I mean, just how is that of a change? Hold on 1 second.
Hamin. I always say that. I don't know why I want to say his name like that. Bin Hamin.
It's great. It's great.
Stuff, yeah, there it is. Christy Mann, a Career Junkie podcast. You guys know her as Mrs. Blue World Order herself.
Mrs. Blue World Order. The transition's been fun. You know, it's been interesting. I think that when I get to use my sales skills now for something that I like and enjoy, it's a lot easier because I had, put in, I'm not going to say 10,000 hours, but I'd put in 10 years of it. Right. So I put a lot of time into sales. So yeah. So now that I can combine that with a passion, I think it makes it even more useful tool to have in the toolbox.
Great.
It's just, but it's fun, man. I'm enjoying everything that happens every day. I don't generally wake up dreading not to do anything for the day. So that's definitely a nice feeling. 100%.
Again, Wolfer says MSG at MSG with a bottle of MSG. I'm wondering there, can we get a MSG sponsorship? Who makes MSG out there? And you could be the crossover from Asian culture to the white audience in front of Madison Square Garden. I think we've got
to make my dreams come true on multiple levels.
He's just going to leave you hungry at the end of the day. Big Evil Pop says, Chuck, producer of the year. MSG is a fraud, horror junkyard. Well, I mean, this is why we have this.
Chuck does one show. He does one show a week. I'm just saying.
But does he do it to perfection? I mean,
no, I don't know. Cause I mean,
he did have him on air when Sal was giving away his personal information, and Justin French, I think, got his cell phone number or something. Underwear size or something. I
don't know about that, but I mean, he does, I'm just saying, all due respect, Chuck, I've reached out to you and, you have a message back. So,
I mean, that's the Cold War tactics are Cold War tactics, my man. Maybe Chuck has wanted you to be drawn out into the open. I mean,
no, it's fine. I don't mind being in the open.
Maybe Chuck doesn't have intentions of winning. He just wants to put a smear on you, Matt.
That's fine. I don't really care. I mean, you can try. I don't know. Who is this guy? He's on the Horror Junkyard podcast.
Oh, shit, man.
No, shout out to the Horror Junkyard. Go check out their podcast on our second affiliate account, HaminMediaGroup.podbean.com.
Yeah, man. Big week though, as every week has kind of been since before the new year, man. So we're back in action with so many projects and so many new brands to develop, man. It's just going to be crazy. I knocked out some graphics last night for Rip stuff, and just keeping on every day a little bit, man. And I got a new local client too. So next week I'm going to need to find a fill in maybe on Monday for the fucking Monday locker room, which won't be hard. I'm trying to find somebody awesome. I mean, everybody we know is awesome, so that's just how it is. But
or you could just let me, Jargo, and Rick do it next week. We'll take over.
Oh, well, why not have a run-in with a special guest if we can?
All right, if you want to do that, that's fine too.
You know, you got plenty on your plate, and I need you other plate. I'd rather take those 2 hours if you have them available and dedicated to the one of 5 projects I sent you yesterday. You know, that's a better use of our time. Not that hosting isn't fun, and you're not that you know, you're getting this spot.
Well, everybody wants to be a host, but nobody wants to put the work in. That's what it is.
Until everything starts to get over, then they come out of the woodwork, right? But yeah, man, that's not here or there. Impact was interesting last night. A lot of recap stuff, you know, Stinger. So they're doing crossover business with AEW, and that was really the big talk of the night. There were some surprises, but coming off a Hard to Kill, there was some choices I wasn't sure of why they made them. Maybe D'Amore thinks a different way than I do, or what have you, but he's a old school territory guy. So the biggest thing to me was not just because I think all 4 of these girls are awesome, but Tasha Steeles and Kiera Hogan beating Jessica Havoc and Nevaeh. I think that was a mistake to put the titles on them to be the kind of comedy ghetto baby faces trying to floss. Yeah, they can get over in character in script and scenes. That means they don't need the belt. Not that Havoc and Nevaeh don't, but when you're gonna make a title for the first time, you want to put it on heels, because off of that you can make the whole division. You can make 2 or 3 babyface teams off of that and really round out your women's division a lot easier and cleaner, because then you're playing King of the Mountain from underneath while you see girls pair up, and then those girls, you know, compete for a number 1 contender spot. Meanwhile, you have your main feud going on and keeping the heels strong. That's just long-term business overall, where you round it all out. I watched Rob Conway do the same thing at OVW with us. In 6-8 weeks, he made an entire tag team division, dude. You know, and then Rip put the DCW scholarship on us. We didn't have belts, we had an envelope to pay Rip. You got a scholarship paid. So, but the Insurgency was on top for a year, had it for a year, so we could make everybody else tag team wise, because Khalil and Ali are very competent heels and smart men. And you want heels leading the match, so you can put baby faces with them. It's helping Ali and Khalil get better at leading, and baby faces just shut the fuck up and they'll tell you when to make your comeback, kind of, and then you shine and get your character in. So heels being on top is a way better choice, because now those baby faces are just going to get knocked off and they got to go back and start all over again, and you're kind of starting from scratch once they lose it. So, and the week before we had Havoc and Nevaeh yoking, what do they call them? Fire and Flavor now? Is that what they are?
Fire Ice.
I think it's Fire and Flavor. I'm not sure.
Oh.
But fucking choking them against the wall, like real heel shit, to make them big time baby faces going into the match and intimidated. And usually the shit talking ghetto girls are like, what the fuck? But they were really like, you know, oh shit, we're about to get fucked up here. And we're cornered. And I was like, okay, they're making them good babies going in there, so heels over strong when you make the belts. Nope. Babies up. I'm like, okay, we just paid that off. Like there's like, that was a year's worth of business, man. Year's worth of business that was that decision and that pin makes. Not that they can't go 1,000 different ways. It's just, to me, that's the strongest highway to go down, dude. That's the best road.
Interesting. Well, I guess we'll discuss more of that here on Impact Wrestling as we break it down. I did have 1 or 2 stories here.
Sure, man.
First one, I have
Hold
one
on,
is
hold
from
on a second. Well, since our boy Big Ray isn't here, shout out Big Ray, working with Vito Brand, working real hard. Got meetings with him this week. Vito looking, dude. Vito looks like he's 20 years ago. Hasn't missed a step, bro. Looks crazy, but
This is your Impact Attack 3 Count, the 3 biggest pro wrestling or world news stories of the day. Now, back to Ben Hamin and Big Ray.
So this is legitimately why Rick has been hitting me up all night. When are you gonna do Impact Tech? Impact Tech's gonna be live. He just wanted to fucking hear his own voice. That was it.
Hear his own shit, huh? Did he? You know, you never know what's going on around here, dude. There's so many different.
All right, boss, I'm leaving this voicemail. I'm being really quiet right now. Not because I'm in Jacksonville at AEW, because I know that's the rumor going around at Titan Towers right now, that I'm interviewing with Tony Khan for a young writer position here in AEW. The rumors are not true. I'm loyal to WWE. Hold on. Tony, I'll be right there. I'm loyal to WWE, and I'm not going anywhere. I want to be the young writer 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now. Even when I look like Dory Funk Jr., I'm still going to be your young writer. Got to
Patreon.
go.
Patreon.com/RussoTWC for all your Master Shoot theater needs.
Having fun with it this morning. What's the news, MSG?
First thing I hit.
3 count.
Well, I guess I've got to do 3 topics now. So the first thing on the topic here is Renee Paquette discusses whether Jon Moxley's departure impacted her in WWE. So shockingly, she says, no, it didn't. Well, that's what she thinks. It actually made my life easier, to be honest, in the sense of like, one of the hardest parts was like, I just had started doing commentary when he came back from injury, and he's like, he came back and this is, by the way, I'm reading how this is wrote as this heel character. And God, calling my husband's matches while he is like wacky heel was like a really hard spot to be in, because some days I would get the feedback of like, just call it like a wrestling match. You don't know him, to then being like, what did you guys have for dinner last night? Or what did you guys talk about at home over the weekend? And I'm like, fuck, I have no idea how to really navigate this. So once he left, I was like, well, at least I don't have to deal with that anymore. Thank God. But no, I kind of just kept waiting to see if people would treat me a little differently. Like, even just like, because I was sitting in production meetings every week, like, are they going to want me in production meetings because I'm so privy to all the information going on in WWE? And like, are they not going to want me to know this information? So I'm like leaking information to my husband or something. But none of that ever happened. And if it did, it was slow enough burn that I never noticed.
I can't hate on her right there, bro. Like, she's covering the Stooge report well to not bring heat. And she is, I kind of got to say, a special case like I haven't really seen before. Because after Mox left, you think that, that they would pull the trigger and do what they do to 1,000 other fucking talents. But on their way out, everybody was shining her and being like, oh, we love you, da-da-da-da-da, kind of. And that was a new and unique look of WWE corporate culture. And I don't feel that it was disingenuous. I can, like, scratch my own eyes out over the Valley Girl shit, all that kind of dumb talk. But what she laid down there wasn't, wrong, where that's a lot of pressure on her. He leaves. She's got to now go to production meetings and everyone's looking at her sideways going, if this shit shows up on AEW, you know where the fuck it's coming from, and they probably set 4 or 5 traps for her. When I hear that, that's what I fucking hear through the line of like, what's she going to do? But she wanted to do her job the best she could. She separated the two. Mox is a smart enough worker. He's not going to fuck up his wife's life. So they put her through a table every week for 9 weeks, like other people, and then off to the races, man. She was never really great or supposed to be on commentary. She made the most of her opportunity. And I think she left with goodwill everywhere. And that's a rare fucking commodity to have in pro wrestling world, man, to be honest with you. Was she in over her head on the commentary desk? Absolutely. But that was them testing Moxley probably to get to him through her. and they faded, and they never could break them.
Never could break him. Well, second story I have here relates to Impact Wrestling, and it involves the We Nominal One and AJ Styles, because AJ Styles was recently asked what were his thoughts on Hornswoggle parodying him recently as the We Nominal One.
Yeah,
he said, I didn't see it, but I saw pictures. It was hilarious. Good for him. The We Nominal One is hilarious to me. So if he's able to make money off of it, go for it. Yeah. And then Styles went on to discuss his relationship with Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows, saying that it's one of those things where it's like, how did this get over so well? It's because you had guys that genuinely wanted to hang out together. We weren't just together when it came to wrestling. We were together outside of the wrestling ring too. We were actually hanging out. And I think that's why it worked so well for us at that time. We all hung out together. So seeing those guys, I'm happy for them. It's cool they're able to continue what they started whenever it was. Any thoughts on AJ Styles, We Nominal One, and the Bullet Club stuff? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, Hornswoggle is over with everybody on all the shows I've ever worked with him, you know, and I just go up and shut the fuck up and be like, dude, you know your stuff. You tell me the spots we're doing, you know, you're the star here to shine, and I'll get my heat. And whenever you got to come in and do the ass bite, or I got to do the fucking slip on a banana peel, you just tell me where I'm going to be there, dude. So, because he's the draw, bro. Like his spot is going to be what little kids talk about on the ride home, you know, got like teenagers and to 30-year-old virgins. We do it talking about the 450 and shooting stars and shit, but an ass bite to a fucking 8-year-old on the bad guy is fucking hilarious. You'll remember that at the end of days. I think he should take everybody's character and parody it and come up with a fucking gimmick name. So you never know if you're going to get little Andre the Giant, if you're going to get little Boogeyman, you know what I mean? What he could do a bunch of things, but he looks so much like AJ Styles. Stay in that vein right now with the mom haircut and shit like that. As long as AJ's on top, to be honest with you, like if he did it and got it over for a year, if we were back on the indies, Vince would bring him in, no doubt about it, to fucking do that spot with AJ, just to see little AJ, and Big Ninja standing together. And they would even probably put fucking Hornswoggle on Big Ninja's shoulders and he'd fucking carry him down.
Right. I saw that picture of him hanging out on the bus with Big Ninja, and I was like, good for Big Ninja. He gets to travel in style. Good for that kid.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. Think about, I mean, that guy is supposed to look a certain way, obviously, and he's hired for a reason, but think about how uncomfortable it is for him, man. Like,
7-footer.
Dude, that guy's had to go through shit that, you know, people will never, like, just like when Andre, people look at him and stuff, like when that guy walks, you know, 100 yards, you're just going to see people start looking and fucking heads up and shit, man. And then for him to travel, dude, as much comfort for that guy as possible. And no matter if he's got to stand there and do nothing. And I wonder if he's got something where he's not doing a lot of action because of the giantism. I don't think he's got the same thing Andre had. But, you know, maybe it's dangerous for him to move quickly with his joints and knees along those lines too, man. Like guys of that size.
Preserving him, right? Preserving him and only using him when needed.
Thankfully, because in DSW, Dirty South, just to fucking rib and prove a point, I think it was Hugh Morris running it, to be honest with you, as how the story goes. When they were doing all that hazing and shit like that, he fucking bumped out Great Khali, had him taking all these fucking bumps and shit on it for his knees were done. So like that's the rib of like old school wrestling, of like, not a rib, but like how vicious it can be. Oh, you're going to come in here just because you're a freak. Well, you're going to do this, and this, instead of going, look at this guy. Any one of these bumps could end his career just based on how big he is. We got to preserve him. Nope. It's put him through the meat grinder, test him, bump him out. And then by the time he gets to WWE, he fucking can't even move. He didn't move like that when he showed up at developmental. They fucked him up, you know, like, and that's like the old school way that Kern and all those guys will fucking do it too. So, you know, it was fucked up, but I think maybe they are a little smarter with him, you know. Triple H isn't that guy to beat the shit out of a talent, you know?
Right. All right, well, I got one more topic here. I did have a third one, but I was going to go ahead and just plug it instead. What you guys should do is go over to sportskedia.com and check out the brand new article, Vince McMahon Chose Me by Vince Russo, where he details his real-life heat with Jim Cornette and goes into detail there. Of course, you can also get more information by just listening to the Raw and SmackDown reviews on the RussoBrand.com, and you can also check out Bucket Full of Chicken Next for last week, where he goes really in-depth. So if you're a Russo Brand subscriber, it's exclusive to you. You can go listen to that episode. But yeah, check out Vince Russo on Sportskeeda. Just check out the article and leave a comment, feedback. I'm sure he would appreciate that as well. But here's my third topic, Ben, which I thought was pressing. Just came out in the last 15 hours, the brand new reveal for the third season of Dark Side of the Ring. Have you seen these different?
No, I haven't seen the new lineup.
Okay.
What do we got? What do we got, man? No,
All right, here's the lineup.
Busy, bro. So busy.
All right, so the first lineup, or the first one for the season premiere, is Flying Brian Pillman.
Okay.
We're then moving into a couple different feds with FMW, Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling.
Yeah, I was a big watcher of what I could get my hands on back in the day, because that's where ECW crossed over, you know, and they had all the fucking deathmatch shit and girls with electrified barbed wire and shit. So I got a bunch of VHS tapes that I got to convert over to digital after I get that one guy's library done. You know, then maybe we'll watch Megumi Kudo again get fucking a side to the head. I think she took. Well, she was wrapped in barbed wire. She's gigging her with a fucking sigh. Good stuff.
Well, we go from there. That's a great segue, though, into the third episode, which is XPW, Extreme Pro Wrestling, which, of course, was basically the ECW light, or the fallout of ECW after it closed.
Sure.
So we'll get to see that. From there, we move into independent wrestler Nick Gage. He will be a topic. Dark Side of the Ring.
He did the bank robbery gimmick, right?
Yeah, I think so. So it'll probably be a full episode on his story.
Yeah.
And then we go into, which I think will be an interesting one. We start to get into some classics. WCW or New Japan Collision in Korea of 95. So that'll be fun. I think it'll be interesting.
What's Dark Side about that?
I think it has something to do with the event itself.
Okay.
All the different things that surround it, I would assume, international. I guess let's see. It was a Fall Brawl Collision in Korea. Releases professional wrestling. It was the first pay-per-view from North American wrestling promotion to be held in North Korea. But it wasn't aired on North America until August of 95. It also holds a record for largest attendance for a wrestling event with 340,000 people. So let's see. Card included Yuji Nagata versus Ishizawa, Pegasus versus Hasi. Also, it was like a couple night event. It was April 28th and April 29th, 2-night event. But on the pay-per-view, they had Pegasus versus Too Cold Scorpio, Nagata versus Ishiwa.
Benoit Pegasus, yeah.
Right. Steiner brothers taking on Ken Sasaki, and Hiroshi Hasi.
I'm pretty sure both those guys fucking were never heard of again.
Here we go, the big one. Inoki versus Ric Flair was the big one on there. Right. And then Shinya Hashimoto taking on Scott Norton, which I bet was probably cool. That was for the IWGP.
You know, Inoki got fucking paid, bro. Inoki got paid.
So, yeah, he did, because he defeated Ric Flair, so he didn't take the pin.
Well.
But, yeah, that was the big one. Collision in Korea. 2 legends, 1 country. Japan versus USA on.
I get it. I know the matches. I'm just wondering.
What's dark about it?
Yeah, if they're going to be like, they had us, you know, military moved and we saw weird shit, and you know, I don't know what they're going to say.
It's probably more along the lines just for the topic itself being the largest wrestling event ever. And I bet you there was stuff we don't know about because it was in international shit. I bet you there was some shit people haven't talked about maybe to this day that they're going to finally reveal right here. There's a couple more here. Topics here, I believe. Let's go back to that page. Yes, 2 more. This one is really interesting. The Smith family. So Grizzly Smith, Sam Houston, Rockin' Robin, and Jake the Snake. I'm assuming they're going to cover definitely Rockin' Robin, the murder from a couple years ago.
Yeah, and you know, Jake's Dark Side of the Ring DVD is pretty disturbing too. everything that happened in his life. And then his dad was a strange cat, bro. If you watch that shit, but I guess it's handed down the bloodlines. You know what I mean? It's there.
And then the last one, and I'm gonna probably butcher this name, so I'm gonna, I guess, give you the AKA Bruiser Bedlam, Johnny K9, Ion Croturo.
I'm not sure on this one, man. To be honest with you, I probably heard it, but I've forgotten. But sounds like quite a lineup, no doubt. These guys are doing decent work, but at the same time, I kind of got heat with them because they keep trying to set up Russo to look a certain way because they want a Russo Cornette episode face off like a Bad Blood thing, I think. And I think that's kind of a cheap thing to do as producers to keep trying to set them up. And, I'm very protective of Vince. So if I see that shit happen again, there's going to be a problem.
Gotcha. Well, the guy, not to go back to this guy, but Bruiser Bedlam also wrestled under Terrace Bulba. He was to a life of crime, entering wrestling in his early 20s. He worked as an enhancement talent in WWF as Johnny K9 during the 80s, driving to superstars such as Pedro Morales, Ricky the Steamboat, Paul Orndorff, and the British Bulldogs. So,
right here, our own Timbo Slices, Bruiser Bedlam was a wrestler who blew up a cop shop here in Canada.
There you go. So he's that's probably why he's on there. And also because, for those unaware, Vice is based out of Canada. So, of course, they're going to go out on a Canadian story. It would make sense.
Why not? Yeah, the Dino Bravo episode was crazy.
Right, exactly. So go out on the Canadian story because that's only going to hit both markets. So, yes, that is.
I bet Montreal Mob was not happy about that. The Montreal Mob is no fucking joke up there, man.
Montreal. So that is your 3 count. There you go. I hope I did Big Ray as well.
No,
we stayed away from.
Oh, okay. No bread, no water, just no. That's all he wants. That's all he needs.
Just meat on meat. So that is your 3 count, guys. We hope we were able to bring a little bit of entertainment. I tried to stay away from all the politics and stuff like that because you're going to get that all day on your social media, and of course you get the full breakdown and how they played you by coming back today on the Conspiracy Horseman tonight. Ben, I'm assuming that's the big focus tonight is the inauguration fallout.
Jenny Lee's on too. She's kind of a mystic and into dark arts type stuff, but she's also into the underground news scene of how things are going. So hopefully we get through today with no bloodshed and everything will be as boring as it probably should be. And people who I care about who have a different opinion than me, especially in the improv and acting world, if they rejoice a little bit today after 4 years of them living their own self-made prisons, well, I'm glad they're out, man, and I hope they find some joy today, and I'm happy for them.
Daniel Price says every time I say the 3 count, he expects a bunch of boy band cruiserweights to appear. So, I mean, it would be great if I could just have a bunch of 1, 2, 3, let's come with me. 1, 2, 3. Right, how do I break this? I don't know. So anyway, this boy band status.
Yeah, I pulled the favorite slider.
Young Kodak got pardoned today, and I think Little Wayne got pardoned as well. I read as well. Little Wang, Michael Carter the third for a gun or something. While he had a felony or something. I don't know. So those were the only notable ones that I knew. All the other people were rich millionaires and people that have been behind the scenes that you don't really know about that are Trump's friends, and now you have to do a bunch of research on to figure out how the hell these people are going to impact society again. So that'll be fun to research. But yes, guys, let's get into Impact Wrestling now. Your full Impact AEW crossover invasion continued last night, Ben, as we got a number of different individuals from AEW making their way over, and some returns. A big shocker, actually. I was not expecting to see one of them, which we'll get into here. But Impact Wrestling tonight, of course, gives us a repack. They talk about Hard to Kill. Now, we can go a little bit into depth. Did you want to give any? I know you talked about a little bit on the Monday locker room, but did you want to give any final thoughts on Hard to Kill? Maybe some of your top moments, what you liked before we get into the breakdown.
Their main event got effed over. Eddie and Sammy, just all that gigging. It was good. They're scratched up and beat up, but that was a death feud that will never end. And I think these guys have got something there, money written on it. It's the fucking Raven and Tommy Dreamer of 2021, and it's designed to be that way.
The feedback that I saw online for the face-to-face debate, I'm not just putting over Stevie Ray, I'm just putting over Sami Callihan, Eddie Edwards, or those guys. Let's be realistic on just from an improvisational set. It takes a lot of talent to sit down for 30 to 45 minutes, no script, off the cuff, stay in character, argue with somebody. And those guys did. Now, granted, you had a legend like Stevie Ray, guiding them along. But still, for Sami and Edward to do that, I saw responses online. People are like, man, this is what's been missing from wrestling. This raw feeling where two guys are about to go into a scrap and they're just talking a mad bunch of scrap. So if you haven't watched the match, I encourage you to go back and watch the face-to-face debate and then watch the match, and everything comes together.
Yeah, man. These guys have been going at it since we were in 2CW together. And it's two guys at the top of their game for sure, creatively and what they want to do. And I sent them both messages, putting over their appearance on Stevie Ray was very impressive, and exactly what wrestling needs, which is no script and the ability to play your instrument at the highest level, that free form jazz. And some people are going to fall on their face and other people are going to make magic moments. And I think that opportunities like that are so awesome to be able to capitalize on before a pay-per-view, because it picks up and puts all the details into effect to really set the tone. It's the overture for the big symphony. You know what I mean? And they went out there and definitely played it on Hard to Kill and left it all out there, man. The N64 wrapped in barbed wire. A lot of people pop for that, all that shit. So it's a good pay-per-view for them with the combination of AEW stuff, because last night on Twitch they were at 10,000, and they were at 3,000 forever. They went up to 50,000 and came back down, but to be at 10,000 last night on Twitch was a good number for them, I think, for sure.
Yeah, so guys, check out Impact Wrestling's Hard to Kill. What did you think of the tag, the 6-man, the big AEW versus Impact match that they had?
Yeah, I mean, you knew that AEW was going over, just in numbers alone. You needed to shine them and put it up that way. I didn't watch all of it, just the highlights on that. It's what I expected it to be.
I will say that I went back and watched the Matt Cardona versus Ace Austin match. I thought that was a good match.
Dude, Matt Cardona can deliver. That's the whole thing. But I was like, because Chelsea Green's over there, openly doing the good girlfriend thing, whatever they are. Maybe they're engaged. Who knows? I don't know. But fucking, I'm going to myself. You just debuted, broke your arm, and now your dude who everybody likes is going there with, the Major Brothers are back together or whatever they're gonna be, and fucking her tweeting is gonna piss them off, and I don't want to see anything bad happen to her while she's under the NXT or SmackDown banner. She's got so much awesomeness to offer, but it's things like that where she's just trying to be not thinking about her own path, that one tweet will fuck people up. You know what I mean? So, and could come back to have her going through a table every 3 weeks, or somebody trying to break her wrist. First person they put her with is Shayna Baszler on the wrist lock thing, and snaps again, they're not beyond that, they're not. So I worry about the younger generation when they do stuff like that, because they just don't. After watching what they did to Lana, why would you think they won't do that to you?
Good point. Fair point, man.
I just got a soft spot for her since Laurel Van Ness. I think that's one of the fucking best characters in the last 20 years, dude, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I'm interested to see what they do with Cardona too. I liked his interaction last night with I don't know who was. I guess we'll get there, but I like his interactions last night. So with Ace Austin as well when the other guy got attacked.
Mhm.
But I like that they're keeping Myers and him separate kind of right now.
Yeah, because when they get together and need each other, it'll be awesome. Like it'll go. And you know what I really liked?
Or it'll be like Cardona's getting beat down and everyone wonders where Myers is, right? And we eventually get that collision where they wrestle each other. Because I don't know if I want to see them tag again. I'd rather see them feud a little bit, to be quite honest. I know that they got a podcast, so it's kind of like we already know they're best friends.
Yeah, that's what I say. Why try and do what they're not? You know what I mean?
I don't know. I think it'd be interesting. Maybe turn him heel then. I don't know. I don't want to see Zack Ryder goody two shoe anymore. I'm kind of tired of that shtick. I guess
they just need to be badass men now, even though they play with toys. That's the problem.
Well, that's okay. That's fine.
It's not okay.
That's fine.
It's not. If not, if you're trying to fucking portray something else and get over, you know. Did you fucking see the Four Horsemen playing with fucking action figures?
I know, but this is the demographic and people are watching. People like that shit, and that makes them money, right? So, I mean, at the end of the day,
agree,
like Roger says,
but
right? I mean,
you can't go and be like, we're the badass motherfuckers. Now watch my toy.
Oh yeah, I don't think there can be badass motherfuckers for sure.
Right.
I just don't.
I do. They both look like fucking legit.
They look like it for sure. I'm just saying with the comic stuff, obviously.
Or not Brian Hawkins fucking even goes, I got 2 kids. And I really liked that scene that Hawkins came in where he was waiting in the elevator, but it looks like he just gets there.
What am I walking into?
yeah, like that's very good. I love those production choices because it took not a hokey wrestling scene, but a wrestling promo scene, added an element of reality of him showing up and the way the elevator opened. It grounds the whole scene in time, and then him and Fala ended very strong, dude. I really liked that scene, to be honest with you, because we went wrestling, movie entrance, big heat closing. That got a lot of business done in one scene.
Well, let's jump into it. So after the recap, and we get the new footage shown from last Saturday after the Hard to Kill main event. Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers celebrate their victory. For Don Callis offered, of course, to get them all a couple drinks, head back to the hotel. As he's walking out, he walks back in and looks directly in the camera, says that him and Kenny have to kind of take a bit of a hiatus, head back to Jacksonville to take care of some business, but he'll be back before you know it, as he is the hand. Yeah, it was the hand of God, the God of hand, right? So a little bit of, I guess, foretelling to the audience, hey, Kenny Omega is not going to be on Impact Wrestling every week. Don't send us tweets next week wondering where he is. Right? I mean, that's kind of what I'm getting at here.
I guess that's a way to fill a hole if you need to. And there's a bunch of other choices, but I've said what I need to say. I want things to get to that Eddie and Sammy level of a worked but real thing. And all this stuff with the Briz and all this shiz, it just comes off way wrestling when other people are trying to create a reality. Not to say that everybody has to do that, but it kind of is too tongue-in-cheek to me. You know what I mean? It's waka waka instead of really playing to the height of their intelligence. The Cyrus Don Callis character should be a cold, calculated motherfucker.
Right.
Not a fucking like bullshit.
I'm the best.
Yeah. No, like missing. And he needs somebody to direct him and show him that. Because he is a brilliant performer. There's no doubt about it. But that hokey fucking tongue-in-cheek of wrestling 2014 shit is like the old guys trying to be cool. It ain't right, dude. Yeah, he's got to work that Eddie Kingston shit. He's got to find his voice like that. Demore has found his voice in that vein. So what? If he's in that realm, he needs to match that energy. We're playing 2 different games, one in reality, one in, waka waka. We're just playing wrestling in the backyard.
Right. Well, coming up after this, we got our first match of the night. We got Rhino, who's accompanied by the Ring, cousin Jake, taking on Eric Young, who's accompanied by his crew with Joe Doring and the newly head-shaved Cody Deaner. Now, of course, this is the first time I've watched Impact in a couple of weeks. So when he came, I've been listening to you guys, obviously. When he comes out, and I was like, yo, I like this new look. I was like, I was like, man, like, first of all, major props. I cut my hair last year, and my hair had been growing out for a couple of years. So it's a big decision to cut your hair like that. But he went full into it, committed right to the bit, cut his hair. He probably didn't need to cut it that out because the other guy, Joe Dorian's got long hair too. So I'm sure nobody came to him and said, cut your hair. But he was like, no. I need this look.
They kind of built it all up. They built all that up in these jailhouse promos that they did with him over a couple weeks. So the transformation thing, it was very well done. Very well done.
Well, so Rhino, of course, backs EY in the corner, clubs him a couple hands. They go back and forth, colliding in the center of the ring, as guys do. But eventually, the conclusion of the match, we kind of get a little bit of a schmoz, if you will, with the referee distraction. Joe Dorian runs around the other side as the ref is distracted, attacks Rhino, drives a knee into the ring post, and then EY puts in that knee bar submission. And unfortunately, Rhino taps out. So the winner of this match was Eric Young. And then Violence by Design is what they're going by. The group of Young, Dorian, and Diener beat down Rhino after the match, with Cousin Jake running in to try and get a few shots in, but quickly fell to that 3-on-1 attack. They wrap Rhino's ankle in the steel chair, and then Dorian jumps on it repeatedly as they force Jake to watch and roll him around, screaming in pain. Interesting start to Impact. I liked it.
Yeah, absolutely. Joe Doring's definitely finding his character and comfort zone too. This was the best he's looked as like a big man whooping some ass. And you put Rhino down, that's credibility, that's heat. Heels need heat, and these guys have been building something, and Rhino did good business for them right there, dude. So I was interested in this, and this was probably the best they looked as a crew, I thought. I don't care about names like Violence by Design, and what I know we got to sell T-shirts and all this shit, but that means those guys sat around and came up with a name, and like, are you really violent and like psychos if you're coming up with a brand for it? Like, those guys are just, we don't have to get to it that quickly. Somebody else can name them, I
was going to say, that's what I did like about, late 90s, even early 2000s, where you have these guys that would team up and people would be like, well, what are they going by? What do we call these guys? Even the announcers, and you wouldn't know. And then eventually they would just do something that would be, they would trigger it. And then that became their team name, right?
It'll come to you. You don't got to fucking make it just to go get something over, so people can go, do you like Violent by Design? Violent by Design, do you like those guys? Like, no, see, like now we're out of the gate with making a mistake that we made with aces and eights and all that kind of shit. Like, so that's kind of that irked me when I saw that. Get each one of those guys over individually. Diener's got to be made now in the new character. Just call them that. Now they've lost their fucking individuality. There was a lot more individuality build to be done there.
Yeah. Well, after that, we got some more unseen footage from Hard to Kill. As after the main event concluded, Rich Swann and Moose had a bit of a stare down and a jaw-jacking conversation. Moose attacked Swann and threw him headfirst into a wall, claimed to be the man of his word, and then that he was the best damn tag team partner possible in the six-man tag, but he wasn't the reason they lost, and now he's coming for the Impact World Championship. So that will set up tonight's stare down again between the two. But before we get there, we get a little bit of a shocker here as we've got the Good Brothers. They make their way down to the ring. Don't have the Bullet Club gear on this time, as Carl Anderson asks how many times they need to make history before people give them the respect they deserve. Gallows claimed they did it again last Saturday, and it's been a nonstop party ever since. Then we've got Chris Sabin. He comes out, cuts them off, says the Good Brothers treat the Impact locker room like it's their personal party bus, reminds them that neither of the Motor City Machine Guns were pinned in their championship loss and that they want their rematch. It's pointed out to them by Gallows that he doesn't have a tag team partner, as Alex Shelley is at home, which, by the way, we still don't know why. Alex Shelley put out on his Twitter that he was going to announce it. Not that he needs to if it's own personal stuff, but he did actually say, I'm going to tell you, and then he never did. So I'm still waiting to find out.
Well, you think it's the neck thing again or no?
Yeah, I don't know. It sounded like he said he was good and healthy, like that he was fine. He didn't have COVID. So maybe it was just something else that happened in, I don't know, something happened in life. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know, man. Maybe it was a neck. Maybe, I don't know. But apparently he was not there. Gallows still pointed out that Saban that doesn't have a partner. Well, Saban says, I do have a partner, and he's got a bit of experience in the division. And now comes the cowboy, James Storm. Storm runs down his long list of accolades and his nicknames and says he's not afraid of the Good Brothers and any of their friends, and it's time for them to either put up or shut up. Sorry about your damn luck. But then, shockingly, Matt Hardy returns to the Impact Zone along with his new protege tag team. For those not watching AEW, Private Party. Hardy, of course, welcomed himself back to the Impact Wrestling ring.
It was a good thing to see Matt walking down that ramp, dude. Like
it's kind of a surreal thing.
Moment. Good Brothers look really cool too. I like Good Brothers gear, the way they looked. And then James Storm as the surprise was a good pick. I thought, unfortunately, this guy's tried and they should have put him in WWE with Bobby Roode and all that shit. But this was a good, hey, if you need somebody who can work and is going to be a baby face for you, bring him out as a guy who's been on this brand. That was what I like to call heightening of the scene. Every step of the way, we kind of went up the chain, even though we were doing multiple business. Everything was like, oh, right. And that's really what you want to do to pop them. So this was a good segment from Paper in the way it flowed, where the guys will get their shit in a little bit long-winded, but you kind of want that because that makes the surprise of the next guy mean that much more when they cut him off. I mean, your speech suffers a little bit, but the surprise means that much more, So
right.
It's interesting give and take right there, because I felt it both ways. I've tried to do it both ways a couple times, and it seems like letting the monologue suffer for the surprise. And I say let the monologue suffer. This is me being nitpicky. That's like cutting 2 sentences out of, a 60-second monologue. But if you go 72 seconds and you fucking hit the surprise gets the bigger pop because of that extra 10 or 12 seconds that doesn't need to be there. It's a weird thing in human timing, dude. So, and that's super nitpicky.
Well, of course, Hardy welcomed himself back, and those who have been following AEW, or more, I guess, purposely, you have to watch Being the Elite. Matt Hardy is the manager of Private Party and gets 50% of all third-party affiliate-related content and 30% of all AEW-related content. So he does a little bit of Steiner math by saying tonight he's going to make 100%, and then tomorrow night he's going to make 30% additional on each of them, which is another 60% plus his 100%. So that's 260%. And then, of course, Carl Anderson points out, I think your Steiner math is off there, which, of course, that's what the gimmick he was kind of going for, right? But the Good Brothers claim they're not wrestling tonight and that they're headed to the back. And they said there's 2 teams here, so why don't you guys have a match? And it's revealed that the winner between Storm and Saban in the Private Party, winner will become the #1 contender for the Impact Tag Team Champions. So I was interested. It was pretty cool.
This new Matt Hardy of the ruthless.
Big Money Matt.
Yeah, Big Money Matt's back in a different way, and fucking him putting himself over and walking back down. I love all that. That's the improv. Took 4 years for him to come back, but are you going to have him do this dumb shit, or are you going to have him come back and reference it? Boom. He grounds the scene instantly, and we're off to the races, right? As soon as he referenced it, you get 4 years of like, right? Like you get that feeling, and then everything else is new. That was a great moment, dude. There's a better moment on the show that made me laugh, but that was a pivotal point turn in this scene. You can just feel the access shift a little bit. You get some weird closure, and
I was gonna say I like Doc Gallows too, even in this scene playing the hill. I kind of like you, Matt. Like I ain't got a problem with it. Like I liked it. Yeah, like we get it. We're about money and titties and making. We get it.
Yeah, dude. Like, but that's just playing, because why would he react in a way that he wouldn't if the wrestle crap thing is their thing? That's right. Where the worlds can collide. If you've played true to the whatever, I might not be the biggest fan of the Briz Kliz shiz, but Good Brother this and that, but if you play true to it, how would my character react in this scene? Gallows can get away with that, all that kind of shit. So, and Gallows could be Matt Hardy could go broken again, and he could hit a bell with Gallows there. He also go into Festus if he wanted to, just based on what Matt's laid down in the past too. But we have to approach these things the right way. But yeah, this scene did a lot, and everybody got over in it, man, and it set up the main event. What more can you ask for in the middle of a show? Kind of really great.
Well, moving on from there, as we discovered there, as we mentioned there, Private Party will now take on Chris Sabin and James Storm in the main event to decide the number one contender. But before we got there, we did kind of go to the next match here, which was Jazz and Jordan Grace taking on Kimberly and Susan. So a couple things here I want to start off with. First off, I had to go back and watch this match because I didn't realize that Susan was Sue Young. So as I watched the match, I saw Susan, and I watched the botch at the end. I went, what the fuck was that? And then afterwards, I went back and watched it and went, oh, it's Sue Young playing somebody who doesn't know how to wrestle. Okay, got it. I'm okay with this because I mean that's.
I don't know. Like when she debuted, she punched the chick in the stomach. So here's the posture. People, I thought it was going to be something that I had come up with for somebody else, and I'm still holding that. But like. That somebody said this is supposed to be Stephanie McMahon.
Interesting.
Someone
she definitely was
in the ring.
Yeah, she was definitely sloppy, and like that's why I was like, why is this chick on TV? And then I got it afterwards. Like I said, once I understood what was going on.
So no one's really named it that. That's just kind of going around. But like, I don't know, dude. The Susan thing, it's kind of interesting, but they didn't set it up with any story how we got her to there. She just came out of Susan. So there's a big issue there. And I'm like, wow, that's strange to me because Sue Young into Susie was a huge story arc. Right. And now it's just like shift on a dime. She's going to be this as a third character. Well, why? How do we get there? And if this is a rib on Steph, what is the get back? What's the shot fired? I don't understand. Let me get behind the Cold War and get this character over. But the way this was started was not handled with any other level of professionalism that we've seen through the Sue Young,
Buckshot Kid says Susan is a Karen.
But she's not, though. She's not a Karen. That's what I was like. I'm
kind of hoping for. That was the pitch we were going with all last year. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's not for her. But she's not doing Karen stuff. She's just showing up in a power suit, beating the fuck out of people. That's Stephanie McMahon.
I don't know. Steiner Price and Susan is the middle ground between the Sue and Susie while ribbing Stephanie at the same time. That's all he got. That's what they got.
It doesn't make any sense on there. Hold on 1 second.
While Ben does this here.
Vince, we're on the air. Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up, man?
Just reviewing Impact. Was that about the YouTube strike?
No. I was calling you about something else.
Okay. Big time important, or can I give you a call back in about 45 minutes?
Yeah, call me back. Call me back like about an hour and a half because I just got to record one more show.
Okay, 90 minutes. I'll give you a shout.
Thanks, bud.
Yep. Bye.
By the way, that's a good plug here. If you guys are looking to, be up and about anytime, day or night, you can pick up your bag of Russo Bro Coffee. Get yourself a bag of Russo Bro Coffee. Use the code 5LB. And you get a discount off a 5-pound bag of Russo Bro Coffee. Russo Bro Coffee, bro. It's good for you.
Brosters.com.
Brosters.com. Russo Bro Coffee.
That's all good, man. Yeah. So you see Hacker Hamin, he might be handing out fucking orders over here, but I'm right back in the trenches over there. And I'll be uploading new thumbnails that Dr. Ted got done for a Russo brand. Man, it's just all hands on deck. Everybody's kicking fucking ass, bro. Big time.
Actor Scott Schwartz with Stevie Ray sits down with him tomorrow. For those who aren't aware, he was in a number of movies throughout the 80s, 70s, 80s, or at least 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
So you can go check that out if you're interested. That'll be for Patreon Slapjack tier members. Sign up and you'll get access to, I think we've got like already 10 to 12 different interviews up there. And like I mentioned at the top of the show, it's not wrestling, not just wrestling, guys. He's getting actors, actresses, musicians, all these different type of people, boxers, MMA artist. Mickey Gall was on there. MMA artist, mixed martial arts. Yeah, so check that out. So go check that out. Patreon.com/StevieRayTV. So to get back into Impact, though, I was going to go. My second thing was let's move back into the match with Jazz and Jordan Grace versus Kimberly and Susan. So, this was, I'm not trying to throw shade because she wholeheartedly deserves all the attention that she received this last weekend for retiring, that being Madison Rayne. Mm-hmm. However, it is a little corny that while Jazz is on a quote unquote retirement tour, in the middle of her retirement tour, Madison Rayne retires. It kind of steals a little bit of her spotlight. Am I reading into that too much?
I think so. I don't think the
okay.
one there it does, but at the same time, Jazz got her shine, and she's doing a whole year goodbye tour. Okay. Maybe Madison is too, or maybe she's taking time off to be a mom, and that's a whole thing. But like, when you go, you go. It's just not we don't have to lie. I don't think workers like, oh, she
okay.
outshined her because of that. They're two drastically different careers, not drastically, but two very successful careers in a different way, with Jazz with being an ass beater the whole time, and Madison Rayne being beautiful people, whatever she needed to be, really, as far as that goes. So, no, I don't think either would hold any animosity toward the other, and they're probably going, girl, I'm glad we don't got to fucking do this shit anymore. So I think they're both gonna, they're both, nobody either way, is like, oh, they're competing for any shine on the way out.
All right. I felt, I've been working on it for a couple of years.
I know, dude, that's not a bad question. It's not a bad question.
Those thoughts popping in my head. You got me looking at it like this, like, how could you be cutthroat?
True, because the boys would be in the fucking locker room and nobody's got any animosity. But if you saw them if you saw them both together, or you're sitting by Jazz and Madison Rayne's coming, you say something like to Jazz, you're like, man, I can't believe Madison Rayne is retiring, taking all your thunder, and like, oh, Maddie, what's going on? Like
and then get up and walk out.
And the girls will know what you're doing. They're like, that's the harmless love. Like, you're instigating, but not instigating. You know what I mean? Stirring the shit, and you're just to show that you would, and they laugh it off because they know it's just the boys fucking around.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well,
everybody respects them. Nobody's gonna fuck with either of those guys.
Right. Well, in this match, as I mentioned there, we get kind of a little bit of a wonky finish, but as Kimberly and Susan pick up the victory here. Now, I wasn't necessarily when going back and watching it a second time and understanding what Susie was trying to do, I was like, okay, I was cool with that. But I still found the Deonna Purrazzo part of her getting up and swinging that belt. It kind of looked like when you like one of those girls who's just like, stop it, right? Like, she didn't look like she had, like, she didn't sell like the swinging of the title. It was kind of like,
dude. I mean, I've tried to go to bat for her, but I don't know what Kimberly's doing, man. Like, is she just?
I mean, Deonna Purrazzo? I thought it was Deonna Purrazzo that did that belt thing.
Well, no. I mean, in this whole match, bro. To be
okay.
Like, that spot was hokey. You know what I mean? Okay. That sometimes things work and sometimes they don't. Like, that's like, I've been part of those, and I've got a couple of those on my low light reel. It just happened. You just know that when you watch it back, what you got to do to fix it, so you don't feel that feeling again, because that's a shitty feeling. Because you don't want to be the one on the show with holes in your game. Nobody does. But dude, Kimberly, the way she's coming down to the ring and doing all the Tinkerbell stuff, it doesn't. Kimberly's job is to fit Deonna Purrazzo's world. Nothing she did on the way to the ring was that. It was all, dude, it seemed like, I'm not speculating or nothing, but it seemed like a gimmicked up performance. You know what I mean? Like some Jeff Hardy shit. I don't know what's going on, but it just seemed like, fuck all the work I've done. I'm going to be this. And these girls are just in my corner. The visual doesn't match the rest of it. And to be honest with you, she's been on TV for 3 tapings now, and she's not getting in better shape. And it looks dangerous, and they have to keep putting the women over as like supreme athletes while they don't they don't look like it. You know what I mean? So
I think it would be interesting, and I'm not saying to rip it off completely, but to do something similar to how I'm not watching it, so you'd be able to say it more. WWE's doing the Hurt business, right? The Hurt crew thing. They should do that with the females. Like Deonna Purrazzo should have like a crew of people in suits or something. That should be her virtuoso thing, right?
I'm down with that, bro. And you could even put Sue with them if you wanted to and do all that. Yes, but Kimberly can't come skipping down to the ring looking like Trailer Park Tinkerbell. It ain't working. And the fact that we've gone through 3 TV tapings and we haven't, that's opportunities to like start shifting her and evolving her into that world. This performance, we were as far away from that as we'd ever been. So that it definitely something needs to be done there. Daniel Price says ODB by her as a mob hit woman. Yeah, baby. But ODB's coming back and pretty close with Jess online and whatnot. We're gonna hopefully be working together again soon. But she said she's coming back to Impact. She did 75-day, exercise program of intermittent fasting. She looks better than she ever has, dude, while operating a barbecue food truck. So like there's dedication to the craft, and
right.
Believe me, when ODB comes back and looks better than girls that are 15 years younger than her, it's going to expose who's lazy and who's not, and who's comfortable on TV. And I keep seeing like a lot of top Impact people, like look at Cousin Jake, look at Rohit Raju, look at like all those guys I see them working out together. Josh Alexander, holy shit. Like that's really one of the things that impressed me. We're going to get to it here when Ace Austin and Madman are doing it. And he comes in there now, and we saw this too. Ethan Page was hot about how impacted that Karate Man thing and like embarrassed by it. So where Taya gets a goodbye, they kind of fuck over Ethan Page trying to do good business on the way out.
Right. I was going to bring that up tonight. Yeah.
Like that, like this is the fucked up world of wrestling, bro. You know what I mean? It's the chosen ones in the clicks. So when you see the moves that are made, that there's shady shit going on behind the scenes, which lends to say that, our locker room's awesome. Well, not when they're fucking doing those types of things, because an awesome locker room would be taking care of everybody and making sure we're not trying to do bad biz on the way out to people, So when he comes in, it's Josh Alexander's kind of first time to claim his voice in his spot. And I thought he fucking did really, really well, man, and was really intense. And I want to see that get turned up even more, man, because he should be, if anybody's the next Chris Benoit, it's that fucking, I don't mean in the way it ended. I mean, in the awesome career way. That's the fucking guy right there, bro. That's the guy.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think that he we'll get more into it here. It's coming up, but he's got a great voice. I really like what he had to say.
I did too. I thought it was and it was important because he hasn't said shit for 2 years.
Right.
These are his first words, and that's your chance to make a first impression. And I thought he fucking nailed it. And it was in action in the scene too. So there was a lot of good shit in there.
Don't disagree. Well, I do see a couple people here in the chat room. They're giving a couple shout outs to Stevie Ray Patreon, setting it up here. So shout out to a couple of you guys. I know Mike Roche here is a Patreon member. But let me go ahead and do a couple quick shout outs here. I know I sent this list over to Stevie. So if you're listening to Stevie Ray TV, you might hear your name there as well. But just a couple quick shout outs. We got a brand new Christopher Bodley just signed up this morning. Stevie Ray TV's Patreon, of course. Brandon Lockwich, this guy who I think is K-Bob, Wilfred, Enos Engen. Thanks so much, guys. You guys have signed up in the last week, so appreciate you guys becoming Stevie Ray TV Patreon members.
Dude, some awesome content over there. And now he's going to start adding his radio shows that he does over there where you are. So even more value, man, with everything he's got going on. Special shows, the radio shows, Sonny Ono ran, and I'm sure you guys looking forward to those hangouts too, the Harlem Hangout. That should be a good time, man.
Yep. So guys, again, check that out. We got great content coming for you more this week. Also, I think tonight what he's got, Reader forgot what this guy's name is. I apologize. Jim Reeder. James Reeder. He's the guy. He's a movie actor.
James Reeder.
Yeah. James Reeder. He's going to be. He's the guy who like Ben would probably like. Let's have a beard off with. He's going to be on tonight. So if you are watching, go to twitch.tv/Stevie Ray TV. Follow it. You can actually call into the show too. He does call-ins. There's a number there, and he does some interactions. So if you want to be part of the show, if you want to catch the replay, or then get it on your RSS feed, just sign up, become a Patreon member. As well as, I believe, I don't want to stooge us out, but apparently he's got another voluptuous lady who's going to be joining him this week as well.
This guy's going for the beard title here. Let's see.
Yeah, there you go.
Come on, catch.
Randy Reeder. Is that what his name is? I'm sorry.
Randy Reeder.
Randy Reeder. Yes.
There
he is. Look at that beard.
Going for the title, baby.
Going for the title. So that'll be on tonight, guys. But yes,
he's worked on Deadpool, Groundhog's Day, Harold and Kumar, 21 Jump Street, Idiocracy, Josh Brolin's W, just tons and tons of flicks, man. So
for those who follow me on Twitter, you know that I posted in the last couple of days. I'm a big Harold and Kumar fan. He was also the guy that was at the beginning of Harold and Kumar. Then they're in jail, and he's like, "It's time for your cocked meat sandwich, boys."
Oh yeah, that's the rough one right there. I've had a couple down there in Gitmo.
Oh, okay. Well, interesting. I hope that never happens to me. Well, moving on here, we've got Tommy. Apparently, it's come to an end. And we got the big reveal here. So Tommy Dreamer and Larry D approached Taya backstage and called her out for being the person who shot Johnny Bravo months and months ago. They said they finally have put the pieces all together. That what happened is that an individual took the ring rust and sprayed it on Larry D, thereby incentivizing him or pushing him to shoot Johnny Bravo. The prints were on the gun and on the ring rust. There was only one pair of prints, and it was Taya Valkyrie. So instantly,
the ring rust popped me. Yeah.
Right. So instantly, I even like Tommy's like, that's getting over in the locker room right now. Ring rust. So like I said that, that's getting over. Get it? It's getting over. Wait, are you gonna hit the thing now? Since somebody did I don't know, somebody put tribal chiefs. I thought,
I gotta put one up there.
You are my tribal chief.
That's it.
There you go. If you gotta watch this live to understand.
The tribal chief.
I'm the tribal chief. So Tommy Dreamer and basically checks security and does all that. And well, it's decided that Taya eventually admits to it, claims that Bravo has been completely useless since day one, and she couldn't let Rosemary marry someone like him. Security comes, taking her kicking and screaming away. Rosemary stops them. They have an emotional moment where Taya apologizes.
You're missing mad jokes. Tommy says they got the GTV footage.
Right.
They have the worst cops in the world as a rib come in to take her away.
I was getting to that. I was going to get to that. But
and then he goes, oh, maybe she's going to Jacksonville Penitentiary. Not the worst place, or maybe she's going to Stanford prison where due to 2 to 3 years, and that'll warp your mind forever. Like he says, there was so many good jokes in here. Tommy stole the show, dude.
I had a question though, because he said, or worse, she could go to Baltimore. I didn't get that reference. What's that?
Or Baltimore. Yeah.
I hope she doesn't end up in Baltimore and they all shut her. So I didn't really understand that.
Yeah, I don't know. Is that Gabe and Evolve?
I don't know. I thought that was more near you. Actually, I thought that was more near you.
I don't know what the Baltimore line was.
Interesting. Well, yeah. So they made all those cracks, if you will.
Oh, is that ROH?
Oh, Ring of Honor. Got it. Okay. That's a good point.
So shots fired. And so yeah, and then Tommy holds them and big arm and all that shit. Dude, this scene pops. I love this kind of wrestle crap. And this is how you wrap up a scene and do good business on something that could go on forever. But Tommy, it's finally over. It's finally over. Dude, all of this fucking world, then we finally get it pinned on Taya. And security takes her out. Rosemary's at the door waiting for her to stop. And then this is what I don't like, but it's whatever. It's their
They got
moment.
really hokey and emotional. And
Should not have hugged, bro. Should have like teased that Rosemary was about to show emotion, and then Rosemary heals on her to stay in character. Instead, we get a hug. They take her out, and then Rosemary. This is why we don't have friends with Crazy Steve, and they do the hive thing. But like,
I mean, wouldn't it have been better though for her as a character rather than Taya to leave? Rosemary locks Taya away. She puts her in some magical vortex, does something. You're not going anywhere. Taya gets locked away somewhere in a pocket. Blah blah blah. She's written off, but technically, that would seem like it would fall more.
If you want true crossover and beautiful stuff, but WWE will never do this because they're too big of fucking assholes. You have the police arrest her and fucking she's leaving, and then some way Taya escapes police custody, is on the run, shows up in WWE with like a black wig on, changed name, like the whole thing. She's undercover for WWE, like as a new character fully. But the whole time it's because she was on the run for murder from Impact. So when her run ends in WWE in 3 years, then she shows up at fucking Impact again as somebody recognizes her as Taya, and they arrest her right there again. She's been on the run for 3 fucking years, but she had a whole WWE run while it went on.
I thought maybe you were going to go more of a different route, like Rosemary locked her in the realm, and then now in WWE, John Morrison has to go convince Bray Wyatt to let Taya out of the realm.
That worked 100% too, bro. That's a great creative choice too. That's a great choice. Like, yeah. I would just say, like, let's get the fucking scene, and she escapes and is running with handcuffs the last time we see her, and then fucking the first time we see her on WWE, it's John, like she's trying to get to,
It would be funny to have a different hair color, different personality.
All that shit, bro. Like, why
she
not?
Comes in she's a Thelma and Louise type character. Put her with Lacey Evans, for God's sakes. Those two should be put right together.
Right. Yeah, even here, her alter ego, Tara Victory. Nobody knows what happened to Taya Valkyrie, but Tara Victory, new talent. This buxom brunette, like all that shit. Like, that's fucking tongue-in-cheek gold and playing to the audiences across the board, and your fans will love you for it. They will absolutely love you for it. But nah, fuck that. We could never reference what they did at Impact. How could we? They're still shitting on AJ Styles for working at Impact for a decade on camera. That's how small they are, bro.
Yeah. Well, as you mentioned, they got really emotional. They were a little hokey there in the end, right? Hugging it out. And then Crazy Steve comes in and she's like, I can never have friends. Doesn't that scare you? And he's like, no, it excites me. And then that's how the scene ends. I hadn't realized that they put them back together so fast, too, by the way. Again, it's only been a couple weeks since I haven't watched Impact. I didn't realize they put Rosemary and Steve right back together. So that was quick.
Yeah, they did start tying that in like 2 shows ago. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So they played true to it the whole time, but the hug thing on the way out, that hurt me, bro. That's them breaking character when her character's so strong that if they would have played it more true and had Rosemary heel on her, it would have been better.
I like Danielle Price's. She does wrestle in Mexico. She can say she built the AAA and there's no extradition. That's pretty good too.
You have her show up and shoot one scene in Mexico, like she's on the run down there as an alibi, and then she shows up at the other one.
Right. Well, we get another paid advertisement here, which from their progression of paid advertisements, what I've seen, I thought this was their best one. You've got Tony Khan here and Schiavone. They're backstage, and it's actually Scavone's in the control room. And he says, this is Tony Schiavone. I'm in a real control room.
Yeah, he's with Jerry Lynn.
Right. Well, it starts with Tony Schiavone saying, I'm in a real control room, though. Let's kick it over to Tony Khan. And then, yes, Tony Khan, and he's appearing with Jerry Lynn. He admits that he's not a carny and that he needed someone to help out Carney Impact Wrestling. So he's sending Money Matt to Impact Wrestling because Money Matt is a big carny. I mean, he's like, he's even taking 50% of his guys' money tonight. He's like, I don't care. So I thought Tony Khan was pretty good in this promo, and I like Jerry Lynn supporting. Jerry Lynn being there kind of gave, I thought, Tony Khan a little bit more credibility than Tony Schiavone standing there. So having Jerry Lynn there, I think, helps.
You're never going to get a job if you keep calling him Siobhan instead of Shivani.
I'm just trying to stick with my gimmick. I'm trying to
You always get it wrong. There's dirty gimmick.
Exactly.
Good. Yeah, she looks good, man. She's been working hard. Probably smells like smoky barbecue too.
Who gets his name wrong all the time? Chris Jericho. Who am I trying to suck up to?
Oh, get over
Chris Jericho, the demo of God. Come on.
Well, you got to say Schiavone then. That's the
Schiavone. Okay,
yeah, that's the Buffalo and Chicago Polish way of saying Shivani.
I was just trying not to steal from him directly. You know what I mean? I don't want to suck up like.
No, that's not his. That's a regional thing.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, man. This is Khan going into biz for himself now, right? Pumping up the arm, and that is becoming a little thing. And then in the main event, pulling all the focus at ringside, writing in his captain's Star Trek log. So it's just like, here we are. Here we are, dude. And what's next? I know what's next. I've told you guys what's going to be next. So you can't put yourself in the universe and not pay off heat, bro. You can once you cross over, that's it. You're taking a bump. You're taking a pinfall.
Scott D'Amore versus Tony Khan, upcoming Impact pay-per-view.
D'Amore, fuck him up, bro.
I know. That's why. But yes, Tony Khan cuts his scathing promo on Impact. He also, he got the pretty promo. even though he's sending Matt Hardy in there, he definitely puts Matt Hardy down for being a carny and a big money Matt guy. So that's what was that breakdown there? Setting up the next main event for the evening. So they continue the thread throughout the night. You had Matt Hardy earlier, and setting up the match, and then Tony Khan cutting the promo. Then we moved into Moose and Rich Swann. So Rich Swann calls out Moose, comes out to the ring, talks about Hard to Kill, admits that he took his eyes off what was important, and even admits that Moose was a great partner in the six-man match. However, says that he needs to return focus to the man who assaulted his best friend, that being Moose himself. So he calls him out. Moose, of course, takes his sweet time, coming out looking like the Hitman. Moose says he isn't sorry.
Great, bro. Moose is a fucking star,
right? He's got it down. The walk, the entrance.
He's there, bro. I don't know why Vince isn't offering them big money. He's already got Keith Lee. He's got Hurt Biz, so I get it from an old white guy's point of view. Why I need another giant black guy? But dude, Moose is a fucking star. He should be coming to NXT to face Killer Cross. Like that's a sweet feud right there, dude.
And they do have a little bit of there. For those who don't follow it on Twitter, there is a little bit of real life heat between the two with how Cross left, and Moose was not very happy with it, and he vocalized it online. Whether he was working or not, he still could work it into a story later on.
That's the crossover we need with Sammy and Eddie and everything. It's right there for us, dude. You know what I mean? Like, imagine them doing that type of shit. Like, there's
man, I can't wait if we could. Man, I want to see, I hope that Impact sends us Moose and Rich Swann next month. I think Moose with Stevie Ray would be really cool. I'd like to see that. Well, speaking of Moose, again, he talks about Rich Swann a little bit as Swann cuts him off and goes into business for himself. They basically just cut a promo back and forth. Eventually, though, Moose says, I want a shot at that title, right? And then Swann says, well, let's do it. I'll do it tonight. Moose is like, well, we got to do it on my own terms. And then Swann, I just thought that was weird being the baby face. He took the first shot at Moose. But I get it. He's pissed, right? So he takes the first shot at Moose. Those two break down. But then eventually Swann, again, as the baby face, gets the upper hand on Moose. And Moose is ends up running with his tail between his legs. So I thought that was just a little odd.
That was not good, dude. Swann should be underneath the whole time, and Moose needs to be strong because this wasn't the payoff. So why is the baby face getting over on the heel?
Why did the baby face initiate the contact too? You know what I mean? That's what was confusing.
Well,
too.
They did show from Hard to Kill where Moose kicked the shit out of him in the hallway earlier.
That's true.
That did set it up, but but this is not. That's the payoff. So like, what the fuck? Why would you make Moose look like shit like that?
I don't know. Very confusing.
Yeah.
But I guess this is going to start this Rich Swann and Moose fallout. After that, we got my favorite Impact Wrestling X Division star, Rohit Raju, as he wants what's his. He wants back his X Division championship. So Rohit Raju walks into Scott D'Amore's office, says, it's pretty much injustice. There's an injustice here, as TJP was technically not supposed to get a championship match, but now he's just walking around unmasked as the champion. Scott D'Amore Manic actually was the one who won the championship, not TJP, and that pisses off Rohit more. They're the same person. D'Amore's like, I know you've been telling everybody and everyone for the last couple of weeks it's the same person. We know it's the same person. So Rohit eventually goes, give me what I want. Give me what I want. And Scott D'Amore gives Rohit what he thinks he wants, and that's an opportunity against TJP in 2 weeks. But as Rohit walks out, Scott D'Amore, little carny action as he does to his champ. Should we tell him?
I like it.
Should we tell him that it's non-championship? So it was good. I like this segment, and Rohit Raju is a star. And I sympathize here with Rohit Raju. He's right. TJP wasn't supposed to get a championship match. He gets a championship match under a mask, and now he just gets to walk around like it's no big deal. Nobody cares. There's some injustice.
He had a whole discussion with D'Amore saying TJP, and D'Amore outline, he goes, TJP can never get another title shot ever again, but somebody else could, but not TJP, but somebody else probably could get a title.
There's some conspiracy against Rohit Raju is what I'm saying, Ben.
I think Rohit on camera. Rohit knew. I mean, that's just how it is.
Conspiracy, and Rohit knows all about breaking down, the dark orders of conspiracy. In fact, you could listen to him all this last season for The Mandalorian on the New Force Order podcast.
Sure.
Well,
what do? You keep what's the TJP's other name?
The other I thought it was Manic.
You keep Manic on top to drive fucking Rohit Raju even more nuts, and then Rohit Raju eats up all of his return title defenses. Or like,
so you have Rohit Raju going over on TJP, but then when it's TJP and Manic beats him, so it continues to
beats Manic until Rohit can't beat Manic. He can beat TJP, he can't beat Manic. So right. what does Rohit have to do?
He has to go under a mask
and become a new character on the other over on Manic.
Right.
And then you go back and revisit it, and Rohit can beat TJP again. You bring it all right back again.
And I'm not trying to be a stereotype here, but I mean, Curry Man, Rohit Raju could be Curry Man. I mean,
I think he could come up with something of his own, man. He could be.
If it wanted to be Impact, right. Though, if you wanted to use it.
If I don't get followed by a suicide, nobody gets to be Curry Man.
Okay. Well, after that, we've got after that breakdown, Brian Myers. As we talked about earlier, there was a backstage promo, right, where Brian Myers interrupted it and had to do because throughout the night, I guess we should go over this really quickly. Throughout the night, you've got both Hogan and the other girl, Steels, kind of doing this whole fire and ice festival celebration that they're preparing for. And they're trying to sell people platinum packages, right? So I get it. It's funny.
It popped me, bro. That popped me.
It's funny. It's a little bit about a year too late when it comes to pop culture, but I appreciate them trying because it works for their characters.
Yeah.
However, they're going throughout the night. They're trying to sell a package at this point. I believe it was to Caleb with the K and what's her face, Tennille Dashwood, right? And then eventually we've got Brian Myers who walks into the scene.
Well,
and he's like, what's going on?
At first it's Follow about it's Swinger.
Right.
Swinger there because he's got the Gucci fanny pack on.
Right.
Follow points it out. He's like, let's be honest, you stole the money from me and they stole from her, and Swinger kayfabes, no way, Briz. But they didn't come back and say that Follow stole the money from Hernandez, which was shakedown money from the fucking Reno Scum.
Right.
And Bravo. So they left out of 2 little parts of the story where they could have even heightened it more. Maybe they don't have those guys and it had to get left out. I get that. But for those of us who are watching in detail, those were 2 details that should have been worked into this scene that could have been wrapped up in a bow if we're sending Taya off out the door and wrapping this whole thing up. Those were 2 things, right? So when the elevator opened, I thought it was going to be Hernandez, but it's Brian Myers and they start new business. Because imagine if it opened and it was Hernandez right there.
Right.
He just grabs Swinger, pulls him into the fucking thing, like there was plenty to do there. And then him and Fowler could have had it out, anything along those lines. But I like Brian Myers showing up here, and I thought Fowler looked good as like a locker room leader, kind of.
Sonic the Hedgehog, the last person we thought to play the character of Suicide was TJP, and then prior to that, I think it was Caleb under the mask. I think he was playing. Sure. He's been wrestling. Just to answer that question there in the chat room. So yes, we had this interaction between Brian Myers and Falaba. And Brian Myers and Falaba are essentially going to wrestle. Falaba's like, you're not acting very professional when he encounters him. I thought that was a good line. Good. Myers like, oh, so you want a piece of me? All right, well, let's. And then Ball's like, let's do this in the ring. So this is the match. We've got Brian Myers versus Falaba. I would say that Brian Myers kind of maybe tried to play off like he underestimated Falaba, right? Because he runs right into a big smash to the face or whatever at the beginning of the match. And then Bod takes him down with a series of tackles, shoulder tackles and whatnot. But eventually Myers does, after kind of another schmoz finish here, as Falaba accidentally pokes Brian Myers in the eye. And then Myers kind of uses that for a distraction to kick Ba in the nuts and then roll him up for the pin. So winner of this match was Brian Myers. What do you think of the match?
I mean, he made Fowler look strong and he had a heel finish. So they're just defining that this guy's super baby face and he's heel. So simple. If everybody else is doing everything else, let's do this actual heel finish to establish some heat right here. So I think they could have a good little run together, man. I would go back and watch Yokozuna's stuff, which I'm sure Brian Myers has, and he's got it all laid out in his head who he wants to be, in this feud. So he loves Brett. So I'm sure he's probably working. He wants to work like Brett to some degree, but he's got to be made into a heel first.
All right. Well, after that, we get a backstage promo, which we kind of talked about already, but it was Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. Austin says Hard to Kill was a travesty. He claims to be the best Impact Wrestling champion or Impact Wrestling star they have to offer. He was forced to sit backstage watching losers like Josh Alexander mocking him for being an amateur wrestler. He also talked about how he had to talk about Josh Matthews on the pre-show. I thought that was kind of funny. He's like, I had to watch a Josh Matthews match on the pre-show about amateur wrestling. I think I gave a shit about this. And then Austin warns Matt Cardona to stay in catering if he knows what's good for him. Alexander then comes in, and as you mentioned, for the first time in 2 years, cuts a full-on promo. He says he offers the kid a free lesson and telling him to open his ears and shut his mouth for once. He says nothing is offered in wrestling, everything is earned. And then Madman attacks him from behind, but then Matt Cardona makes the save, and Ace Austin and him run away, which is going to lead to the next week's announced match of Matt Cardona and Josh Alexander taking on Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. What did you think of this in total? Do you have any more thoughts on it?
I think it definitely, I like the scene and the action and all the run-ins and the setup for next week. I think it works good as a mismatched pair with a guy missing a tag partner and somebody who wants to shine in there. I think it could be a really good sleeper match, to be honest with you. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, now and then, as well as announced for next week, is Joe Doring taking on Cousin Jake, Tennille Dashwood versus Rosemary, and Fire and Flava Fest. That's what they're calling it.
Fighter Fest, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Then we got a number one contenders match between Private Party and Matt Hardy taking on Chris Sabin and James Storm. And I have to tell you, I genuinely was shocked here with this outcome. I did not expect Private Party to win. Now I get it. You know, you put them over to advance the storyline. I just didn't see them putting Private Party over here over Chris Sabin and James Storm, these established vets. But to me, it was kind of an upset, if you just in the grand scheme of wrestling. So I thought it was a good match. I thought James, even I like D'Lo's commentary too. How D'Lo Brown, and in general, I enjoy D'Lo Brown throughout the night.
Didn't Matt help him win? Did he hook the leg or something?
So the ending of the match came with kind of another, schmoz fest, if you will. Jerry Lynn jumped up on the other side of the ring, grabbed a hold of Saban's boot, and then Private Party hit the gin and juice. So this is what you were talking about, that you didn't like the fact that Tony Khan kind of got into the match, if you will, because he came out and he was the focus. But overall, to me, I just thought it was a shocker. I didn't expect for Private Party to win. So it got me.
There's the bigger story of AEW.
Right, of course.
So it's got to draw Scott D'Amore out in some way next, because Khan keeps insulting him with money. You got Cyrus as the intermediary with the talent guys, and D'Amore's just trying to run Impact, but he's getting insulted, and now his main events are getting fucked over by an agent and the owner of the other company. So what's going to happen is D'Amore's going to have to put together his own squad to fucking fuck up their stuff. Or D'Amore just gets over on and they sell the company and he laughs all the way to the bank. But you know what I mean? But they made the choice to put him out there. And if Jerry Lynn went and did it, it's at the behest of Tony Khan telling him to do it, sitting right there. It's not like Jerry Lynn would just jump up to go do that, right? And really, it should be Matt Hardy's heat spot anyway. It's the right business to have them go over on TV as a young team. Hardy on there. And the other guys are a mismatched tag team, but they should have represented for Impact a little bit harder. You know what I mean? In some ways, if we're going to smosh it up at the end and do that, let's have a run in. Let's go off the air with big brawls with all the guys and heighten that up, because here, this makes it about Khan.
Well, following that, there was a big brawl, right, as James Storm and Saban come out and attack, and then it all breaks down between the teams. That's kind of how they go off the air. So Impact Wrestling setting, I guess, more of the breadcrumbs tonight. We'll see what happens tonight on AEW. We really haven't, other than seeing the Good Brothers last week, I guess, we haven't really seen like Scott D'Amore and somebody show up on AEW, right, with his crew. And I get it. The storyline they had planted originally, right, with Scott D'Amore going, we've got Kenny Omega in our parking lot. I don't care if he's showing up and they're paying for commercials. And I get he's trying to play that route. Like, I don't care because they're paying me. As long as the check gets as long as it doesn't bounce, I don't give a shit, right? But I would like to see some more. If you're going to heighten up this war, there needs to be Impact coming in. There needs to be a Nexus angle on AEW. Some Impact needs to come in, beat the shit out of everybody. You know what I mean? Take apart the ring. There needs to be something like that.
Yeah, who do you send though? You know, or do you have guys that are already there flip? Like you get Dreamer to fucking get with Taz and Brian Cage and them flip on your fucking side from inside.
That'd be great.
Because they're Impact don't have the muscle to come in and take out all of AEW. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's got to be an inside job.
Yeah, no, I like that. That would be cool. But I guess we'll see, guys. We're going to find out what happens tonight on AEW. We will be back again tomorrow here on YouTube for Ben Hamin, Mr. OVW, and Hamin.
We're back here tonight, 7:15 p.m. Yeah, man.
We'll be back tomorrow, of course, for the fallout for AEW. Unlike The Fuse, the #1 wrestling review show of the year, voted on by you fans, and it is the #1 AEW review show, period, in this universe. Better than anybody. I don't care. That's #1 with Chris Silvio, and he makes it that way. So check that out tomorrow, right here, same time, same place. Well, not same time, but you get what I'm talking about. Come back tomorrow for that show. Like The Fuse. You guys, I'm your host on the scene where the air is clean, and I'm lighting up green, your boy MSG. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Matthew_Schaffer. Brand new episode of Check My Bows, episode number 59. Something you can do with your finger. Finger bang. One of my top 5 episodes of all time is up now on YouTube. And of course, on Hamin Media Group's podbean.com, ratsellerreview.com, and the R&R Pod Network. Ooh. Speaking of the R&R Pod Network, Rad Rob is planning something great, guys, next week for the Royal Rumble week for the Hamin Media Group Podbean affiliate. So check that out. He's going to be doing content about every day with different interviews. There's going to be some different HMG pundits going on, including myself, for a little bit of roundtable action. Apparently, he might have gotten somebody who's brutal to appear for an interview next week as well. So we'll see what Bob's got to say. And you'll find that out right there on HaminMediaGroup.podbean.com. Of course, check out the link below, patreon.com/Stevie Ray TV. Come back tonight, twitch.tv/Stevie Ray TV. And actually, he goes live after the Horseman's over, so you can just watch the Horseman on YouTube and then jump over to Stevie Ray TV. Just saying.
So does the Horror Junkyard right after the Conspiracy Horse.
Yeah, well.
The super producer Chuck. I'm going to try and start this on the Hamin Media Group Patreon. Read along with Tim Alberino here. I'm going to start reading Birthright a little bit every day. So some extra projects for me today, as well as plenty to manage and emails to write. Appreciate everybody who went to prowrestlingtees.com/Ben Hamin last month and purchased you some of that Christmas cash or whatever you were on, maybe some of that refund cash or stimulus. I don't know. I haven't seen a dime, probably won't on so many lists at this point, Matt. But y'all, man, we're busting ass on every front, every Patreon, but you know, it's always free. As soon as he says HaminMediaGroup.podbean.com, all I can think of is, two more months before they whack the bank account with that and Hacker Hamin and ZordosOliveOil.com fees as they want the renewal in the domain. Plus LegalZoom. Oh, Dropbox haircut. Here's Adobe knocking on the door. Oh, shit. Facebook. We got to pay for those paid ads for the suit store. Y'all, it's HMG business 24/7. Get them, Matt.
Patreon.com/Hamin Media Group, guys, to keep Hamin Media Group free. Your support there helps keep this platform and all of these shows for free. It helps keep them from behind being a paywall. Ben's whole premise was he did not want to be behind a paywall. So the only reason why there's a paywall now is because you're getting high level content with Rip Rogers. There's a different level of education you're getting there. So
yeah, I paid $6,000 for that. So
yeah, exactly. So if you guys want to continue to have free content, unfiltered, unbiased, not swayed or bought and paid for by any company, continue to support patreon.com/Hamin Media Group, as well as any of our other Patreon affiliate accounts, because then you're supporting the producers as well who are helping to make it possible.
You absolutely are. So if you can on HMG on Patreon, so be it. If you can't, please, any of the affiliates that we put over, because it's all it doesn't all have to come directly at us. We like that trickle of steadiness, and you guys have been a great community. You know, it's going down in the Discord and Facebook at Hamin Media Discussion Group. Join the season. UFC's going on right now. Pick'em challenges, Royal Rumble Pick'em challenge, all kinds of interactivity, fun memes as we try and find a place for sanity in the ghetto of social media, infidels. It's MFP. It's Hacker Hamin. Fala Yala, infidels. It's the Impact Attack here at hackerhamin.podbean.com. Yalla.
The baby was born in the ghetto. In the ghetto.
In the ghetto.